means they were already knowing that the constructions and whatever activities, human activities that we do, we have to be living in harmony with the nature. And they were doing activities in line with the eco-friendly activities that we are talking about after several thousands of years. Sustainable development is two things we need to understand. One is meeting essential needs of the world's inhabitants, recognizing the limitations of technology and society ability to meet present and future needs. Sustainable development is more than land usage, water usage, atmospheric conservation, judicious usage of material. That is where we are going to talk about SCMs. Indoor environment, work environment, all these things we need to take care when we are talking about sustainability. And talking about concrete, you can see in this, the concrete is a material which has least impact on the environment. And you can see here when in this graph that production of concrete has again least energy consumption when compared to other materials. Having said all this, we also need to know that human beings involved in construction or and cement, concrete production, all this we are also giving a big amount of carbon dioxide emissions and greenhouse gas emissions, and trying to even though we are trying to put these things to limited numbers, we are having a great impact on the total environmental impact. So what are the problems that we face because of which we are going to talk about SCMs are cement manufacturing, material acquisitions, and use of water. Cement manufacturing, all of us know that every ton of OPC produced will give about 800 to 900 kgs of carbon dioxide. OPC I'm talking about. And we all know that carbon dioxide is one of the gases which is referred to as a greenhouse gas, which is causing global warming. And 5% of carbon dioxide emissions are coming from cement production, which is alarming. And so that is the reason that we are talking about today's topic of SCMs and how they are used in the ready-mix industry, and what is the contribution of ready-mix industry towards the usage of SCM and towards containment of carbon dioxide emissions. And the industry, construction industry, we are using a lot of aggregates, and it is said that about 50 billion tons of aggregates are taken out every year. And then this is enough to blanket the entire United Kingdom, especially the construction industry, not only for concrete production, uses the aggregates and sand, but sand is also used for production of glass, which is also one of the largely used material. So to become environmentally responsible concrete production systems, we need to prioritize, minimize emissions and waste, improve energy efficiency, ensure excellent product quality. So how do we do it? We need to reduce concrete usage by reduction of thickness of members. Then for that, we have to use HSC, HPC, use lesser binder material, especially OPC, use supplementary cementitious metals. That is today's topic, why we have to use, and what is the contribution of ready-mix industry, how it is used in ready-mix industry. That is what we are going to talk, and use high performance chemical admixtures. That is how we are going to make a lesser impact and make this planet better. Back to this. We started using fly ash and GGBS in a big way in India, especially in the ready-mix industry. And I can say proudly that we did a lot of trials in the year 1999, 2000, almost 20 years back, to introduce fly ash in a commercial ready-mix plant, ready-mix plants, and we are seeing the results for the last 20 years now. The materials like fly ash and GGBS are extensively used in ready-mix industry. Now, to go through these things, just I will start with the introduction of SCMs. SCMs are also called pozzolanic materials. These pozzolanic materials are called as they are because these materials were first found in a village called Pozzoli in Italy. Yeah. Now you can see another structure, Roman Colosseum, which has been one of the structures identified as one of the earliest usage of mortars, where it is said that they used some form of volcanic ash, which is a pozzolanic material, used it, mixed it with some amount of lime and seawater, and then used this to make a mortar, which is strong and standing for now almost 2000 years. Pozzolans basically are rich in silica and alumina. Basically, if you look at the composition, they are Al2O3 plus SiO2 plus Fu2O3 plus CaO in various percentages. If you look at the different pozzolanic materials, these percentages will vary. And of course, the same materials you can see also in cement. The difference is that these materials will work only in presence of cement and water. They cannot work on their own. The hydration reaction produces lime, and hence Portland cement works well with pozzolans. The degree of reactivity of various pozzolans with lime is called pozzolanicity. And we have the most famous modern pozzolanic materials. We have fly ash and GGBS, as everybody knows, as civil engineers and people are associated with concrete industry. We all know that fly ash comes from thermal power plant. It is absolute waste for them. And we used to see long back in 1999, when I visited the Ennore thermal power plant, I was shocked to see that tons and tons of metal was pushed into literally through pipes into sea. Actually, I don't know presently what is happening, but at that point of time, it was pushed into sea, and you can see this kind of fly ash being floating around in nearer to the center or thermal power plants, where there mountains of this material, the thermal power plant, in big stockpiles, and so it is basically it is basically basically it is a waste for thermal power plant. It is not it does not serve any purpose for the thermal power plant itself. So usage of this material, a waste material in concrete industry, has a lot of benefits, which we are going to talk about. The other one, which is equally having a significant role in the modern concrete construction and modern durable concrete constructions, which we are seeing today, are GGBFS. This comes from blast furnace slag unit. It is a waste produced there. This is ground to certain fineness. It is ground to certain fineness of about 3000 to 3200, where we have this blast furnace slag being ground, which gets activated in the presence of cement and water and gives durable concrete. We have also the other materials like silica fume, amorphous silica, and then we have metakaolin and rhesus cash as other pozzolanic materials. Now, coming back to the waste that we have around, you can see one of the microscopic structures of GGBFS in this slide. You can see the in this slide, which is a what is observed under electronic microscope. You can see flaky particles, actually flaky particles. Yeah. And then you have fly ash, which are rounded in nature, spherical, perfectly spheres. You can see perfect spheres. You can see this man, Brian Mather, in 1982 told that we should be moving from a position of why we should use fly ash to a position of why we should not use fly ash. We should be giving reasons uh, to anybody that why we should not be using, rather than giving reasons for why we should use. So it means there is so much of literature available, so much of trials done, so much of experiments done, R&D work done throughout the world, that Brian Mathers says that OPC will be seen only in the museum after some time, and only the other blended cements and blended materials will be seen throughout the world. That is what he's told in 1982. And we have moved a long distance from that point of time. We have moved positively in a very big way throughout the world after that. Mr. Beyond, even including in India, we have done tremendous progress, and the contribution of ready-mix companies significant in this matter. Yeah. And amorphous silica is collected from silicon metal, and sometimes it is also occurring in the natural form in some areas. And you can see, you can you can see the comparisons of the different materials here, how they look at see that the best example what we can see is the fly ash is perfectly spherical in nature, and it gives a significant advantage because of the shape that we see here. And reasons which are why ready-mix companies have to use and why concrete industry has to use SCMs are basically categorized into three categories. One is environmental, another one is commercial and technical. And as far as I am concerned, and in my opinion, the most important aspect why we should use SCMs is basically because of most important impact making phenomenon, that is the concerns related to environment. That is why we have to use SCMs more. And the other aspects of the follow. Technical aspect takes the second seat. Actually, technical aspects are very, very important. How the SCMs benefit the concrete and durability of concrete. And of course, the commercial reasons are, according to me, take the last place actually. In fact, commercial reasons should not be considered because the durability that is imparted by these materials are significant and uncomparable to what happens when we use only OPC. Environmental reasons. The environmental reasons, fly ash is dumped into natural or man-made lakes or dam. Slag accumulates in large stockpiles. A manufacturing industry example, cement is under pressure commercially and environmentally to reduce energy use and emissions. The use of SCMs to replace a percentage of Portland cement reduces the power demand and the generation of gases such as carbon dioxide. Commercial reasons, lower material costs for concrete as fly ash and slag is generally lower in cost, Portland cement. As I said earlier, commercial reasons should not be considered at this point of time because there are many other reasons why we should use these materials. So technical reasons are all materials are fine in nature, and this can affect the plastic state properties. Hardened state, really the concerns with the usage of uh, SCMs or with the early properties that the great advantages are with longer term properties. The early age properties many times was earlier misunderstood. There was always a misconception about the strength we get lesser in the early state of concrete, early life of concrete during the when the concrete is fresh and up to 7 days, and the other properties that the concrete as it ages have significant impact and significantly changes or transforms the concrete to next level of durability, and hence that becomes a very, very important reason than any other reason. Portland cement controls the setting time of concrete, and SCM reduce the concrete quantity of Portland cement in concrete. Lower Portland cement contents give extended setting times. So many times it helps us for a ready mix company to transport the concrete because if you take a control concrete, that is concrete without SCM, if it has a setting time of about 4.5 to 5 hours, the setting time with fly ash or GGBS is extended by say 1.5 to 2 hours. So that gives little flexibility for a ready mix company to transport to longer distances. And then bleed rate is reduced. This is one of the significant contributions. If you look at a OPC plus fly ash mix, actually, bleed rates are lesser. The mixes are cohesive, and that is a very important property which is advantageous when we are using OPC plus fly ash. Workability. Workability, SCMs are very fine materials. Fly ash has major beneficial impact on workability. We saw earlier a slide where the microscopic structure of fly ash was exhibited. Due to the sphericity of the particles, being the particles are being spherical, they move one over another, and then it makes it gives way for higher workability. On the other hand, you can reduce water to some extent actually. Let us say we are moving from a OPC mix to OPC PFA mix. Let us say we have taken a 300 kg OPC mix, and we are comparing with a 25% replacement of fly ash. It is about say 225 OPC and 75 kg fly ash. So automatically, when you are replacing about 25% from OPC mix, control mix, there is a possibility of about minimum 6 to 8 or sometimes even 9-10%. So there is a water reduction automatically achieved when you are shifting from OPC to OPC fly ash mix due to the sphericity, particle shape and size. You get this kind of advantage. So water cement ratio is pushed down when you are using a fly ash mix actually. Slag tend to reduce the workability, but this can easily be offset. Slags, even though OPC mix to slag mix, for example, OPC mix is there, and we are trying to shift from OPC mix to 50%, 50% of GGBS. Definitely, you have a slight water reduction, but not as good as what we can achieve with a OPC fly ash mix. So OPC fly ash mix gives best water reduction, followed by OPC GGBS, and then the highest water cement ratio is achieved or we encounter when we are using OPC. Silica fume has a marked effect on workability and will require more admixtures. Sometimes silica fume is referred to as a slump killer. You have to use more admixture when you are using silica fume, and otherwise you'll end up with slightly bigger water cement ratios. The improvement in these areas, pumpability and finishability, is significant when you are using a OPC fly ash mix. You can have OPC PFA mix, which makes the concrete smooth, cohesive, and reduces the pressure on pipeline during pumping, and wear and tear of pipeline and other equipment related are reduced to a significant extent. And anybody and everybody who has used OPC PFA mix likes OPC PFA mix singly and simply because of this kind of attributes that it has. One of the mixes that we did long back in 2002, where customer asked us to pump the concrete, M10 concrete. He had to finish the concrete, finish the PCC quicker in a day, 150 cubic meters. It was about in 2002, and then we used fly ash here as a pumping aid actually. So fly ash can be used as a pumping aid for long horizontal pumping as well as higher vertical pumping. So 130 kg of OPC was used and it was mixed with about 155 kg of fly ash, and you had here about 10.5 MPa to 12 MPa in 7 days. And of course, we had a better strength and the requirement of the strength was only 10 MPa. Here, the strength was not the point actually. The point is that pumpability was significantly increased using fly ash. And the same characteristics of pumpability was used in Burj Dubai, where most of the high-rise pumping done in Dubai, OPC plus PFA plus microcili for M100 concrete is used actually. Hardened properties, the most important and beneficial hardened property is the alarming increase that you can encounter when you are using blended mixes. GB stands for blended mixes against GP, that is the OPC mix actually, where the OPC curve after 28 days become horizontal, or the strength becomes stagnated, and you can see a very significant improvement after 28 days, between 28 days to 90 days. So the initial strength gain, you can see when you are using OPC PFA or OPC GGBS mixes are a bit stunted, and over time after 28 days you can see the curve moving up, and you can see a big gap maintained between OPC plus PFA or OPC plus GGBS mixes against the normal OPC concrete. This is a significant benefit a user or a person who orders blended concrete gets actually. Some researchers have found that the concrete the GGBS mixes in 10 to 12 years almost double the strength. The strength will be doubled when you are using GGBS. You can see these tables, the trials were done long back actually, and you can see there is a significant improvement between 28 days to 90 days. The cubes were cast on a site in Chennai and in 2001, and you can see here the 28-day strength is 37.84 for a 240 OPC and 100 kg PFA mix. This fly ash comes from Ennore Thermal Power Plant, and the cubes were observed for compressive strength at 365 days, and you can see 55 MPa. So the jump is between 37 to 55, almost about 20 MPa jump you can see. Similarly, you can see a jump of almost 20 MPa between 28 days to 150 days for the cubes cast on site. the customer had purchased M25 concrete at that time, and M20 concrete at that time, and you can see here he has almost got M40 or M45 grade of concrete actually. So what I'm trying to tell is customer has will gain this benefit over a period of time. There is the reaction between the pozzolanic material, which is always referred to as a secondary reaction. When you are talking about cement plus water, it gives calcium silicate gel and calcium hydroxide. And this calcium hydroxide is consumed by the constituents of the mineral admixtures, which is SiO2, Al2O3, Fe2O3, CaO, and slowly further CaOH twice some amount, and then further calcium silicate hydrate gel is formed. 2 times the calcium silicate hydrate gel is formed, and the amount of calcium hydroxide in the body of concrete is reduced. That is how the durability shifts to the next level, and that is how the concrete becomes more durable, and long-term strengths are significantly improved, which we can see through this slide. Again, almost 800 results. This is a graph which represent almost average of about 800 results. Each result is average of 3 cubes, and we can see from here OPC plus fly ash mixes when we used and cubes were cast, the OPC plus fly ash and OPC plus fly ash mixes from Ennore thermal power plant, Mettur thermal power plant, and Tuticorin thermal power plant were used actually. And you can see here there is a 40% jump from 28 days to 90 days. This is the significant contribution that we observed, and all over India these long-term studies were done, and Coimbatore especially at that time, I'm talking about these results are from 2007 to 2010. At that time the fly ash what we had received from Tuticorin power plant and Mettur power plant, and some of the fly ashes were also supplied from Ennore, gave this particular jump of almost 40% between 28 days to 90 days. This again reinforces the thought that, for example, a customer achieves, for example, customer gets a concrete which is about 30 MPa in say 28 days. He is bound to get almost 40 or 42 or 43 MPa in 90 days. So there is a significant growth afterwards. Of course, the growth of strength over time is dependent on the fineness of cement and the properties of fly ash in question. All these things, other water cemetery, etc. But this is a general trend we are talking about. We can be the customer can be guaranteed that there is a significant jump of strength between 28 days over a period of 90 days until 90 days and beyond. The reactions are continuous, and reactions will continue as long as some moisture and some amount of calcium hydroxide and other reactive materials are available in the concrete system. Earlier, there were a lot of misconceptions. One of the misconceptions was that fly ash, when we are using fly ash in a ready-mix concrete industry or in a company or any other company, the point is that they were talking about lower strengths in the initial stages, and they were also talking about that high-grade concretes cannot be done. So these trials, and there was a commercial production of this kind of mix actually in Hyderabad. We supplied about 120 cubic meters of this kind of concrete. So OPC plus PFA in the year we supplied in about 2009. OPC plus PFA can be used to make M60 concrete and higher. And of course, without the usage of any other additional metals like microsilica, we could able to achieve a 77 MPa in 28 days. So you can easily achieve 60 MPa and all. We can use this kind of materials, SCMs, and make it. Only thing problem with this kind of commercial production is we should be careful about the consistency in the gas supplies. If there is problem with the properties of fly ash, then it becomes a question mark, especially when we are using for high grades. Other than that, we can easily use and make concrete with most of the Indian fly ashes up to M25, M30, M40 easily. But when we are using higher grades, when we are going for higher grades, we need to be careful, and we probably have to take the aid of other supplementary cementitious metals like microsilica, metakaolin, etc. One of the other significant contributions that happen when we are using SCM in modern day constructions, especially when we are constructing big rafts, which are about maybe thousands of cubic meters of concrete being poured, and thickness of a raft maybe more than 1 meter, something like that. Here, the temperature rise over time. Temperature rise becomes a significant factor. We have to measure the temperature at core of the concrete and the surface of the concrete, and if the temperature differential is more than 15 degrees, then thermal cracks will occur actually. So to avoid that, the only possibilities the concrete technologies through the world and scientists have found is usage of supplementary cementitious metals and usage of certain other methods by like insulating the concrete, and then also use cold water, ice, etc. to keep the concrete cooler. So one of the biggest contributions of SCMs like GGBFS and fly ash is when we combine in certain percentages. For example, for raft foundations, it is recommended to use higher than 60% GGBS and a minimum 35% of fly ash to keep a OPC, PFA or OPC GGBS system at a very low temperature. The gain of strength, gain of temperature will be completely controlled if you go for higher percentages of these SCMs as depicted in these graphs. GGBS lowers peak and overall heat, reduces thermal stress, reduces micro cracking. One of the biggest contributions. Optimum substitution level is 60 to 70% in this kind of situations. If you want heat reduction in heat development, yield buildup in raft foundations, you need to go for above 50% optimum at optimum levels, say for example 60 to 70%. Again, another slide which shows that you have least heat of hydration when you have blended 50 to 70%. When you blend, there is a significant reduction of heat. Another most important contribution. Another most important contribution of hardened properties is sulfate resistance. Sulfate resistance of these SCMs, especially if you have a look at fly ash and GGBS, you can see through this graph when OPC mix is blended between 20 to 40% of fly ash, the mortar expansion or the resistance to sulfates is significantly reduced against a general purpose cement or OPC cement. The OPC cement has significant expansion, that is least resistance to sulfates and highest resistance when you are using a OPC plus fly ash or OPC plus GGBS. The same is depicted when you are using GGBS also. You can see in this slide, when you have 0 GGBS, that is control concrete, reference concrete made with OPC, you have high amount of expansion, that is least resistance to sulfates, and you have excellent resistance to sulfates when you have about 35 to 50%. Chloride ion resistance is one of the defining parameters, especially when we are doing concrete in marine or marine structures in coastal areas. Chloride ion resistance become a very defining factor as far as the durability is concerned. So, if you want to make a concrete highly durable in coastal areas or for marine structures, especially when the structures are in direct touch with seawater. You have to have a water cement ratio of 0.4 and below, they say, and then you should have a blending of minimum about 60 to 70%. Globally, for marine structures or chloride ion resistance, they specify 70% GGBS to be used, and all across the globe, including in India, water retaining structures, especially closer to sea, and structures which are in touch with seawater, they are done with 70% GGBS and 30% OPC. And I can say in this connection, there is no match. There is no match as far as the OPC and is concerned. The OPC is no match when we are talking about chloride ion resistance. The blended concretes with OPC, PFA or OPC GGBS are head and shoulders against above OPC when we are talking about the resistance to chlorides. Another slide showing about a very important improvement of resistance to chlorides. When we are using 60% GGBS, we can see initiation of corrosion will start only after 50 years, and the time to first repair is estimated at about 70 years. Means up to 60-70 years when you are using OPC plus GGBS mixes, you don't have to bother about repairs. If you have done the concrete properly, you have placed the concrete properly, compacted the concrete properly. So on the other hand, you can see here when you are using OPC alone, you have initiation of corrosion about 10 to 12 years, 15 years, and then you have to have a repair at a very early age, say 30-35 years. Diffusivity of chloride in concrete. Diffusivity of chloride in concrete. Here you can see a complete absence of diffusion. Means chlorides are almost nil when you are talking about addition of about 60 to 80% of GGBS, and when there is no chlorides, is OPC mix, you have significant diffusion. Again, there is a slide which talks about resistance to chlorides. Resistance to chlorides is least in SRC cement, and it is improved significantly when we are using blended concretes, OPC plus fly ash and OPC plus GGBS. R.N. Swamy from Sheffield University has made a lot of scientific research on blended concretes, and one of the important points which are established is pore volume, that is porosity of concrete, capillary pores, etc., are decreased by 61% in 91 days, after 91 days, and coefficient of permeability is reduced by 56% when we are adding about 50% of GGBS. So this is one of the important information when we are talking about the improvement of durability. There is a significant reduction in permeability, and hence a tremendous amount of improvement in durability because of this kind of reduction in permeability. Again, service life with respect to chloride attack on structures, you have the least attack when you are talking about PPC and PSC, and OPC again seems to be no match with regard to these kind of properties. That is again, these factors make ready mix companies, what ready mix companies are using, these concretes are far better, because most of the ready-mix companies, ready-mix concretes nowadays done are with blended concretes. Again, using metakaolin and microsilica, the RCPT value, which is measured as per ASTM C1202, the columns which are represented here, 380C columns and 320 columns, they show that the concretes are excellent and extraordinary, because when the resistance reduces, falls below 500, that kind of concrete is said to be one of the best concretes as far as the chlorodyne resistance is concerned. Another example where the OPC PFA and metakaolin has given high strengths. As I said earlier, the M100 concrete in Burj Khalifa is done with a combination of OPC PFA and microsilica. So if you are doing about 100 meter cube of OPC GGBS with 50% OPC and 50% GGBS, carbon dioxide reduction is about 11.328 tons, which is equal to not driving car for 92,000 kilometers approximately. So this is, as I said earlier, the environmental impact and the environmental benefit that we can pass on by using the SCMs or pozzolanic materials or mineral admixtures is much significant, and this overrides all other benefits. As earlier we were talking about, the benefits are completely much above what a OPC ordinary potent cement concrete can give. And hence, in this way, ready-mix companies using these blended concretes are making a significant contribution towards greener concretes and making the environment better. And one of the factors which are improved by SCMs and pozzolanic materials is the albedo number. Albedo number is one of the measurements of reflection of light. If the light from a surface is completely reflected, if the surface is white, completely white, the for example, like snow, the surface is said to be having a albedo number of 0.9, and concrete, regular concrete, 0.2 to 0.3, new concrete 0.3 to 0.4. If you are using GGBS, it improves the albedo number, that is reflection. The concrete becomes whiter. When the concrete becomes whiter, the requirement of lights, for example, you are driving cars in night, and you have to light the cars, you have to light the road. That requirement of lighting the roads reduces. For example, you are living in a big complex, and you need to light the surroundings. If you have your pavements and surroundings done with OPC GGBS concrete, the albedo number is increased, and hence the reflectance is increased, and you can reduce the amount of usage of light in the night, and hence it is a sustainable activity. Actually, you are using lesser amount of electricity energy, and hence you are pushing the entire construction to higher level of sustainability. So there is a significant contribution if you are using SCM, especially GGBS, and of course partially if you are also using certain fly ashes from certain places, some certain sources, and then metakaolin. All this improve the albedo number in a big way, which is again a contribution. So benefits of mineral admixtures or pozzolanic materials, in short: good workability, better cohesion, finishability, pumpability. Mixes are not too sticky. Any concrete technologist who has used OPC PFA mixes or OPC GBS mixes, especially OPC PFA mixes, will vouch for this. Increased strength, better long-term strengths. So some customers, for example, there may be, there may be a case in winter season, especially if we consider Bangalore. M25 concrete, since many of these customers don't have a curing facility to cure at 27 plus or minus 2 degrees cubes. The cure outside, the temperature in Bangalore, for example, falls at say, for example, 12 degrees or 10 degrees at night. So there is a possibility that the 28 days strength can come in border in winter season in many places if the curing temperatures are not maintained. So we need not have to be alarmed. The customers can be completely be assured that when we are using OPC plus SEM, there is a significant gain without doubt beyond 28 days. And we don't have to bother. Even the structure strengths come at par or on par with the characteristic strength in 28 days. Based on this long-term strength gains in the countries, especially if you look at USA and many of the European countries, they have made concretes with very low OPC contents like 120 kg, 180 kg OPC, 220 kg fly ash, and they have constructed many structures, including big hotels, which are standing still today. They are being constructed about 35 years back. And these structures were specified where the strengths were specified at 90 days, 56 days strengths were specified because uh, the we know when we are doing these trials, there is a significant gain after 28 days, and there is not very important necessity that we have to measure the concrete strength only at 28 days and take decisions. So you can wait for the concrete to gain the strength, and then you can proceed actually, because you know most of the modern day structures, even a simple residential building, it is not completed in 28 days or 90 days. It is completed in 6 months or 10 months. So all the loads, all the expected loads will many times come later. So by using the specifications which says that which beyond 28 days, 56 days, 90 days strength specifications, we can reduce OPC content and increase the use of SCMs. You can also have increased resistance to chlorides and sulfates by using SCMs. And as I earlier told, OPC is absolutely no match to blended concretes. The other benefits are control of alkali silica reactivity, increased overall durability, architecturally appealing white color, light color concretes. Some of these concretes done with metakaolin. Metakaolin, like this is one of the materials which is China clay when heated up to 650 to 800 degrees, 800 degrees. And it is used between it's also having a lot of other applications, like it reduces efflorescence, improves aesthetic values of plasters. It is one of the materials used in GFRC, geopolymer concrete, and there is lesser rebound, and also used in making actually. In other countries, they use concrete countertops, and for making concrete countertops, metakaolin is one of the materials used actually. And then fly ash, metakaolin, GGBS, all this can be used for in concrete. As an additive, metakaolin, microsilica, and other materials, including fly ash, GGBS, makes concrete stronger, less expensive, better concrete with lesser cement contents. Durability of buildings, public infrastructure, constructions increase with S and slab. Mica gives highest levels of resistance against chemical attack. And all these SCMs have to be used in conjunction with superplasticizers and hyperplasticizers, viscosity modifiers. Okay, and then all this together have changed the way construction is done. We are able to pump concrete to higher places. High slump concretes are achieved, free flow concretes are achieved, self-compacting concretes are achieved, resulting in higher production, reduced labor, reduced in construction time. We can see one of these SDC concretes or SCC concretes. Use of host of SCMs like metakaolin, microsilica, GGBFS, fly ash in conjunction with corrosion inhibitors, shrinkage reducing admixtures, hydrophobic admixtures. We can push the concrete to highest durability limits, which many of the ready mix companies we are doing here using these kind of materials. UHPCs of 250 MPes has been achieved. Cast a concrete bridge in Germany, and similar concrete is used to make a bridge in Australia. So high performance admixtures with SCMs lead to lesser concrete, longer surface life, lesser usage of cement, lesser usage of water, can reduce transportation time, lower pressing energy. You can also reduce the construction time. So means living beings, living things. Some of the living things that we see here, Pando, oldest living plant. This colony of plants are living for 80,000 years, protected in US. So when things, I mean, say plants can live up to 80,000 years, and we have pyramids which are built 5,000, 6,000 years back. Modern day scientists and concrete technologies, we are struggling today to have buildings at 100 years, 150 years. And even that can be achieved only if you are using, according to me, metals like SCMs and lower water cement ratio. So without the usage of SCMs and without the usage of good concrete technology practices, even this 100, 150 years of life of buildings will become a question mark. Through this webinar, to use SCMs, and there is a significant contribution from the entire ready mix industry in this regard, as they are using fly ash and GGBS based on the availability closer to their plants in most of their concretes, and making greener concretes and contributing significantly to the environment, and also making technically feasible mixes. I thank through this lecture for providing me this opportunity to Ramco team, especially Engineer Anil Kumar Pillai and his team, for inviting me to speak on SCMs and their usage in ready mix concrete industry. I also thank our MD, Mr. Shalif Fernandez, for encouraging me to participate in this kind of webinar on behalf of Qcrete Ready Mix Concrete India Private Limited. And any questions are there, we can take the questions now, or otherwise you can also send the questions to my email ID. I again thank all the participants on this Saturday afternoon for coming, leaving your work and coming and listening to this webinar. And I hope some of the points expressed, some of my experience expressed through this webinar will be used in your construction activities, and you will be making better concrete. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Kaushika, for that wonderful presentation. In fact, you have touched upon one of the very important aspects of longevity of concrete structures, because what is important is life of concrete structures, durability, and of course, that can only be achieved by the usage of supplementary cementitious material, as rightly pointed out by you. And the very fact that we should not measure the concrete compressive strength through its 28-day strength, but we also should look upon the longer term strength, like the 56 days or the 90 days or the 150 days, which is very striking. And I think we need to enlarge our ways of looking at concrete, and how concrete can be made more environmental friendly is really something we need to reflect upon. So regarding the usage of supplementary cementitious material, there has been a couple of questions. Can we take it? About 3 or 4 questions we can take it. It's okay, is it? Engineer Kaushika?
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
One question that has been, yes, sir, one question that has been raised, I think, by Mr. Sridhara, is about identify the quality of fly ash. I think he wants to know how we evaluate the quality of fly ash. What we do is that normally the lime reactivity test and fineness. Anything that you would like to add upon this?
The tests which we are talking about, this lime reactivity index and all are post actually, means it can be done in a good enable accredited lab, and that is means that we cannot do on a daily basis. The most important thing is like, you know, any thermal power plant. When we go to any thermal power plant, you need to have some sample and get it tested, because all the tests cannot be done in a construction site. You need to send for third-party laboratory for conformance as per IS 3812. Once you select that one, each truck when it comes, without fail, we need to check the fineness of fly ash. The fineness of fly ash is to be checked on 45 microns sieve. If the 45 micron sieving shows more than 34% residue, if it is passing is showing lesser amount of passing and higher amount of retention on 45 microns, that is more than 34%, then the fly ash should not be used. Basically, because fly ash activation means if the fly ash has to contribute to strength, it has to have certain fineness, and it is said through a lot of research and experiments that the fly ash has to have about 10 microns to 35 microns in diameter. It has to have that size to be active actually. If it is thicker, that is coarser materials, that will not be active and that will not contribute to strength and engineering properties of concrete. Hence, this test is very important and valid test. As soon as the fly ash bulker comes, you have to do the 45 microns test actually, and you can take a loose bulk density and compact bulk density, and you can also take some amount of fly ash, put it into water, and if you feel that lot of carbon particles, means blackish material, is floating around, that is an indication which says that a lot of this unburned carbon is there, and then that will increase the usage of water. That means water demand will increase or admixture demand will increase. So we have to be careful about that one. Some fly ashes will do increase the water demand. We have to be careful about that one. Other than that, as I said earlier, 45 micron test is mandatory. This is the first test that we have to do before we start blending or making concrete with any fly ash that comes to our plant or our site actually.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think, yeah, that is very nicely put in, because as you rightly pointed out by you, the fineness of fly ash is so important that it will enable that activation to happen, and that is very important. Another question by Mr. Jagdishan is, as per your view, which concrete mix will be more easy to pump? Is it with OPC plus fly ash, or is it OPC plus GGBS, or is it OPC plus multi-blend? Which one would you select out of these three mixes?
OPC plus PFA is the best blend actually. If you want to pump the concrete,
Pump the concrete.
is the best. OPC PFA is the best actually.
And the other question is that generally cement is tested in ready mix plants, but are GGBS and fly ash tested for its physical parameters too on a regular basis?
Yeah, OPC is tested also, of course. Fly ash and GGBS is tested. As I said, even GGBS is tested on 45 microns before we start using. It should be not more than 20% retention on 45 microns, 34% maximum retention as far as fly ash is concerned. So these tests are mandatory. Even GGBS is tested actually. Apart from that, regularly Readymix company like Concrete Readymix, we do weekly test actually. Weekly we select a randomly sample which is received, and we do OPC plus GGBS or OPC plus fly ash tests actually for both understanding fresh and hardened properties on a weekly basis. Of course, we also send to third-party laboratories, and we have our own internal assessments also. But both GGBS and fly ash also are tested. Of course, not extensively. We cannot test because we cannot wait for each bulker to be completely tested and used actually, including cement actually. We have some simple tests like acceptance criteria. Yeah.
Yeah, that was nicely put. Mr. Sayan Bhattacharya had a question. He wants to know which SCM product will be appropriate for which kind of construction.
See, one of the things that that stands out is normal concrete structures. Normal concretes in Indian cities. Let us say India. We'll take India. Interior portion, not coastal areas. Interior portion, not coastal areas. Across India, you can use OPC plus fly ash for residential, commercial, or any construction. Easily, OPC fly ash is cheaper, better, and fly ash is abundantly available throughout India. We have more than 100 plants in India. On the other hand, if you want very highest levels of chloride resistance, sulfate ion resistance, things like that, especially if you are going for marine structures, OPC plus GGBS is the best actually, especially if you are doing a concrete directly in touch with seawater and such structures. There OPC plus GGBS is the most suitable material. Even when you are doing a raft foundation, mass concrete, where heat of hydration has to be contained, OPC GGBS is said to be the best in that situation. And also, we need to consider, above all, we need to consider how many kilometers of distance we need to shift one material from one place to another place. Okay, if you have fly ash source which is very close to you and it comes at a very low cost, it is our responsibility to first try to use fly ash, even though sometimes we may feel that OPC GGBS is a better mix. Okay, so because it is also, if you are talking about greener concrete and greener construction, if you are lifting material, if you are bringing material from more than 450 or 500 kilometers, the fuel consumption itself will become a big carbon dioxide producer. So based on the availability, we need to decide, and based on your requirement, you need to decide. But as I said, generally, interior construction, normal construction, we can go for OPC plus PFA across India in most of the places where you need high amount of sulfate ion resistance and chloride ion resistance. You may have to shift for OPC plus GGBS mixes. Okay, sir.
The last question of the day is by Mr. Raghu. As you said, blended concrete will give almost double the strength in long term. If we use full OPC for concrete strength, will it remain the same or increase? This is question.
OPC, nowadays OPC, because 53 grade is OPC, there are also, most of the cement companies are adding up to 5% of these SCMs or performance enhancers. So even OPC slightly gains the strength until 28 days, and the earlier studies had reflected that up to 1 year OPC mix will improve in strength by 10% or 15%, something like that. Now, because of the introduction of performance enhancers, even OPC mixes will slightly gain the strength, but OPC plus GGBS and OPC fly ash gain, strength gain is significant, and it is more continuous, and the curve is always having an upward trend when compared to OPC mixes. So OPC mix curve flattens or stagnates after a particular time, but OPC GGBS and OPC fly ash mixes will be moving upwards most of the times. As I said earlier, 10 years, a research paper was published. Up to 10 years, the OPC GGBS mixes have been found to be doubling in strength actually. Okay, of course, it depends upon the type of cement and blending percentage, everything. But as I said, OPC GGBS or OPC PFA curve will be always going northwards, and you can say that OPC curve has a big chance of flattening at some point of time, maybe after 1 year. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that was a very wonderful way of answering all that, and all the queries have been resolved as of now. And it was a very good presentation with respect to the fact that concrete is a very versatile material and it can be made environmental friendly, which is very interesting. And I'm sure that this rests all the debate, that has been going on for so many years as to which is the most environmental friendly material. Because looking at the versatility, the usage, the infrastructure progress that is happening, I'm sure that concrete will be used in larger quantities. It has to be, because there is no other option. And you have touched upon the various aspects, and even in the earlier lectures also we have placed stressed upon the various practices that can be implemented to make concrete much more durable. So that was very useful. Let me, on behalf of all of you, thank the speaker for having spent his time with us, for having given such a very interesting presentation with various examples, analogies, and a lot of effort involved in this. We thank you, Engineer Kaushika, for having joined us. And let me also thank all the participants, and let us wait for the next webinar next Saturday, the same time, 2 p.m. With those words, let me also thank my team of MACE managers, Mr. Shashank Sharma, Mr. Suraj, and all others who have made it possible, for having invited also participants from various regions, and so that we could gain a lot of things from this webinar. Thank you so much, Engineer Kaushika.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. So let me take leave of you, sign from this event, and thank you all the participants. Thank you so much. Thank you, Suraj. Thank you.